Okay, let's have now the investment in associate, and this is under module 10. No? Okay, so last time we've discussed about the ownership interest. Okay, wherein the ownership interest is less than 20%. And if the investment in equity securities or ownership interest is less than 20%, that is governed by PFRS 9, and that should be classified as fair value to profit or loss or fair value to other comprehensive income depending on the business model. Okay? Now, nandito tayo ngayon. Ownership interest is at least 20% to 50%. Okay? This should be governed by PAS 28. And this should be properly classified as investment in associate. Okay? So, this at least 20% ownership, this is the threshold for investment in associate. Why? This is a presumption that there is a significant influence involved. Okay. When we say presumption of significant influence, bakit presumption lang? Kasi hindi naman talaga ito ang titingnan mo. Okay, the first thing that you will look into, class, is the indicators or evidence of significant influence. If there is the presence of indicator or evidence of significant influence, regardless of the percentage of ownership, okay? Regardless of ownership, pag nakita mo na mayroong indicator ng significant influence, that investment should be properly classified as investment in governed by PAS 28. Okay? In the absence of any indicator or evidences of significant influence, that's the time that you will look into the percentage of ownership. If that is at least 20%, there is now a presumption, the presumption of significant influence. And that investment should again be properly classified under investment in associate, which will be governed by PAS 28. Okay, now, ano ngayon yung mga indicators or evidences ng significant influence? Ito yun, class. These are the indicators of significant influence. Again, ito ang unang hahanapin mo sa problem solving. Pag nakita mo kahit isa man lang sa mga indicators na mga ito, ibig sabihin, that, okay, problem relates to investment in associate, regardless of the percentage of ownership. What I mean is, despite that the percentage of ownership is less than 20%, but there is the presence of significant influence, that investment should be properly classified as investment in associate. And these are the indicators of significant influence. One, that the investor has representation in the board of directors or equivalent governing body of the investee. Then, item 2, that the investor is part of the policy-making process of the investee. Number 3, there is the presence of material transactions that transpire between the investor and the investee. Item 4, there is an interchange of managerial personnel. And item 5, there is a provision of technical information. Again, at least one of these 5 indicators ang masatisfy is enough for an investment to be classified as investment in associate, okay, which will be governed by PAS 28. Again, what are the indicators? 1, that the investor has representation in the board of directors, governing body of the investee. That the investor, okay, is part of the policy-making process of the investee. Number 3, there is a material transaction that transpires between the investor and the investee. And there is an interchange of managerial personnel or there is a provision of technical information. Okay? Yan po yun. Pag yan ay na-classify na under investment in associate, okay, gagamit na yan tinatawag na equity method of accounting. Pero bago tayo pumunta dito, pag-usapan natin naman ito. Kahit hindi na to sa bar. Pag pumalo ownership interest ng more than 50%, there is now a presumption that there is control. There is now a presumption of control. Okay. This will now be governed by PFRS 3. No? Yung business combination nito ninyo. Okay? And PFRS 10. No? lilitaw na dyan yung parent and subsidiary relationship. And this will be addressed, no? This will be discussed by AFAR, no? Sa AFAR na po yan. Okay, so hanggang dito lang tayo sa AFAR, sa investment in associate lang. Dito, ang magdi-discuss nito, PFRS 3, PFRS 10, sa AFAR na ninyo. Again, if there is more than 50% ownership interest, there is a presumption of control. Okay. Dito tayo ngayon. Under PAS 28, investment in associates should use the equity method of accounting. Paano ba yan? The investment in associate class should be initially measured at cost and subsequently measured at its carrying value. Paano tatakbo yan? Okay. Under equity method, that cost, okay, the valuation of the investment in associate on the initial measurement of investment in associate at cost, okay, gagalaw po ito. Okay. This cost will be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee. Ibig sabihin, pag tumaas ang equity ni investee, tataas din ang investment in associate mo. But you will look into or consider the so-called percentage of ownership. Okay, paano yun? Let's say, nagkaroon ng net income amounting to 1 million pesos si investee. Tumaas ang equity niya, ibig sabihin, tataas din ang iyong investment in associate. But not at 1 million pesos. Okay? That should be based on the existing ownership interest. If the ownership interest is 20%, okay? So, tataas ang investment in associate mo by 20% of that 1 million, that is 200,000. That is why, ang tawag po doon, share in net income. Again, under investment in associate method, equity under investment in associate, which will use the equity method of accounting, the initial measurement at cost should be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee, taking into consideration the percentage of ownership. Okay? So, these are the items that will affect your investment in associate. And these are the items that affect the equity of the investee. Okay? Kaya ang tawag dyan, share in net loss, share lang kasi. Kasi based on percentage of ownership lang. Share in net income, share in the increase in the other comprehensive income, amortization of excess on the overvaluation of assets, share in dividends, okay? Share in the decrease in the items under other comprehensive income, amortization of excess on the undervaluation of assets excluding goodwill and impairment loss. Share in impairment loss. Okay? So, yan po yun, si investment in associate natin na gagamitin natin later. And this is your investment income. No? Investment income, kasi class kapag ikaw ay regular investor lang, no? Regular investor, dito kanina, kumikita ka ng tinatawag na dividend income. Okay? Dito class, kapag nagkaroon ng declaration ng dividends, what? Ano nangyayari? Hindi. Babawasan na ang iyong investment in associate. Ngayon, kapag naman nag-recognize ng income, si investee, okay, nagkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na share in net income. Yan yung investment income. Okay? Kanina, or dati, kapag dito ka sa less than 20%, kahit na magkaroon ng income si investee, wala kang tatawaging share in net income. Purely, ang kikitain mo dito ay dividend income lamang. Dito class, kapag nagkaroon ng declaration ng dividends, tandaan mo, okay, bababa ang equity ni investee, bababa din ang investment in associate. Okay? Kaya ito yung share in dividends. Meaning, that dividends is an adjustment or that will decrease the equity of the investee. At anong sabi? Susunod lang, di ba? This cost will be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee. Since bumagsak ang kanyang equity because of the declaration of dividends, babagsak din ang investment in associate mo in consideration of the percentage of ownership that is existing. And this is your investment income, and these are the items that will affect your investment income. Sharing net income, sharing net loss, sharing impairment loss, amortization of excess on the undervaluation of assets, and amortization of excess on the overvaluation of assets. This concept will be used in the first 5 problems ng ating materials. Okay? Okay, let's have the problem solving, no? On investment in associate. So let's have problems 1 to 5 first. So question 1 and 2. Okay. In question 1 and 2, ano ba ang sabi dyan? Kung mapapansin mo, class, walang tanong sa items 1 and 2. Ang tanong lang dyan, class, lagyan ko, ha? Meron bang significant influence o wala? Okay. Item 1 tayo. In item 1, ang sabi dyan, class, ABC company owns 30% of the voting shares of Alpha. The other 60% is held by XYZ, and all seats on the board of directors are appointed by XYZ. Again, okay, that is a kind of problem that talks about indicators of significant influence. Ano ba ang sinabi ko sa iyo kanina? Kapag sa problem solving, ang unang hahanapin mo, class, yung indicators ng significant influence. If the problem leads us to indicators of significant influence, yun ang titingnan mo. Wag na wag mong titingnan yung percentage of ownership. Okay? Pag walang binanggit tungkol sa indicators of significant influence, that's the time na titingnan mo na ang ownership interest para malaman mo kung merong presumption ng significant influence. Kaya in problem number 1, since this problem talks about indicators of significant influence, yun lang ang tingnan mo. Huwag mong titingnan yung percentage of ownership. Since item number 1 says that ABC, no, has no representation of the board of directors. Bakit? Kasi ang nakalagay dyan, no, and all seats on the board of directors are appointed by XYZ. Okay? Kanino ba tayo nakatingin? Kay ABC. ABC owns 30% of the voting shares of Alpha. Okay, the others is held by XYZ, and all seats on the board of directors are appointed by XYZ. Since ABC company has no significant influence or has no representation of the board of directors of Alpha company, ibig sabihin, item number 1, wala akong significant influence niya, despite the 30% ownership interest. Okay? So, sagot sa item 1, walang significant influence. Item 2, ABC company owns 15% of the voting shares of Alpha. All seats, all other shares are held in very small blocks, and therefore ABC has many seats on the board of directors. Again, that problem leads us to indicators of significant influence. Okay? So, wag mong titingnan yung percentage of ownership. Since ABC has representation in the board of directors over Alpha, no? Ibig sabihin, ABC company has the so-called significant influence over Alpha. Okay? Ibig sabihin, there is a significant influence despite the 15% ownership interest, which is below the threshold limit of 20%. Okay? Ganun po yun. So, ang titingnan mo muna, yung indicators ng significant influence. If the problem leads us, okay, to indicators of significant influence, yun ang titingnan mo. Okay, wag mong titingnan yung percentage of ownership. Again, what are the indicators of significant influence? 1, that the investor has representation in the board of directors or equivalent governing body of the investee. Pangalawa, that the investor is part of the policy-making process of the investee. Pangatlo, there is a material transaction, okay, between the investor and the investee. Pang-apat, merong interchange ng mga digital personnel. At pang-lima, merong provision ng technical information. Okay? So, in item 2, may significant influence. Ibig sabihin, the investment of ABC should be properly classified as investment in associates which will be governed by PAS 28. Let's now go to item 3. Yung item 3 tsaka item 4, madali lang. Meron lang akong gustong i-establish na konsepto dyan. Item 3. On January 1, X1, Abet Company acquired 30,000 shares of XYZ's 100,000 outstanding shares at 10 per share. Compute for the percentage of ownership. No? The percentage of ownership is 30,000 over 100,000. Answer, 30%. However, dadagdagan ko ng tanong. Meron bang significant influence dyan o wala? Now, item number 3 is a perfect example of a kind of problem that did not tell any of the indicators of significant influence. Yan yung sinasabi ko sa iyo kanina. Diyan sa problem na yan, okay, hindi tayo nililid sa indicators of significant influence. Okay, if the problem did not tell any of the indicators of significant influence, that's the time na babalik ka or titingnan mo ang percentage of ownership. If the percentage of ownership is less than or equal to 20%, or I mean, is at least 20%, no? Ulitin ko, if the percentage of ownership is at least 20% to 50%, okay, that is a presumption of significant influence. Okay? So in item 3, wala hong patungkol sa indicators ng significant influence. That's the time na titingnan mo ang percentage of ownership. Since the percentage of ownership is 30%, ibig sabihin, that is a presumption of significant influence. Okay? Meron dyang significant influence. Next, item 4, on January 1, 20X1, Abet Company acquired 30,000 newly issued shares. Okay? At 10 per share before the acquisition, XYZ had 100,000 ordinary shares outstanding. Compute for the percentage of ownership. So that is 30,000 over 130,000. Okay? So the percentage of ownership again is 23.08%. Again, this problem did not tell any about information on significant influence indicators. Ibig sabihin, titingin ka na sa percentage of ownership. Since the percentage of ownership is at least 20%, it is presumed that there is the presence of significant influence. And this investment should be properly classified as investment in associate, which will be governed by past 28. Okay, let's now have item 5. Okay, in item 5, ang tinatanong sa atin sa item 5 ay, okay, let's read the problem first. No? On January 1, 20X1, Abet Company purchased 20,000 shares of the 100,000 total outstanding shares of XYZ for 1 million. XYZ's asset and liabilities approximate their fair values. In X1, XYZ reported profit of 3 million and declared and paid cash dividends of 200,000. In 20X2, XYZ reported loss of 2 million, declared and issued 10% stock dividends, and reported gain on property revaluation of 500,000 and loss on exchange difference on translation of foreign operations of 100,000 pesos. Requirement for item 5, letter A, compute for the share in profit or loss of associate in 20X1 and 20X2. Next, compute for the carrying amount of the investment on December 31, X1 and X2. Okay. Again, investment in associate will use the equity method of accounting. The investment in associate should be initially measured at cost and subsequently measured at carrying value, wherein the cost should be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee, taking into consideration the existing percentage of ownership. Okay, gawin natin. Compute for the share in profit or loss of associate in 20X1 and 20X2. What you need to establish first, meron nga ba siyang significant influence or indicator ng significant influence? Tingnan natin yung problem. Diyan sa problem 5, that is again a kind of problem that did not tell any about indicator of significant influence. Okay? So, saan ka pupunta? That's the time na pupunta ka sa percentage of ownership. The percentage of ownership is 20,000 over 100,000. Okay? 20,000 shares over 100,000 total outstanding shares. The percentage of ownership then is 20%. Okay. So, merong presumption ng significant influence. So, meron tayong sagot sa tinatawag na share in profit or loss of associate in 20x1 and 20x2. Okay? Kasi, gagamit na yan ng equity method of accounting. So, punta tayo sa 5.A. Tapos, 20x1 ang hanapin natin, share in net income. Okay? Hanap. Sabi dyan, okay? In 20x1, XYZ reported profit of 3 million pesos. 3 million. Okay? So, dun ka titingin. So, 3 million times what? 3 million times 20%. So, the answer in item 5 for 20x1, the share in profit or loss is 600,000 pesos. Yan ang sagot. How about for 20x2? O, punta ka sa 20x2. In 20x2, XYZ reported, okay, loss of 2 million pesos. Okay? Tapos, declared and issued 10% stock dividends. 500,000 is a gain on revaluation. And 100,000, that is a translation loss. Ganito, class. Ang tinatanong kasi niya, share in profit or loss. When we share in profit or loss, nandun ka lang dapat dun sa result ng, okay, ng operations, which is what? The net income or your net loss. Okay? Any items related to other comprehensive income, wag mong isama. Kasi meron ding tinatawag na share in other comprehensive income. Nakuha? So, pag tinatanong ka ng share in profit or loss, saan ka titingin? Doon ka lang tumingin saan? Doon sa net income or net loss na result ng kanyang operation. So, in problem 2, 5.2, 5-year 20x2, tinatanong ka ng share in profit or loss, ang titingnan mo lang, class, yung 2 million net loss. Okay? The gain on revaluation is an item of other comprehensive income, and the translation loss is also an item under other comprehensive income. Ibig sabihin, class, wag mo silang isama kasi hindi naman tinatanong yung share in other comprehensive income. Ang tinatanong lang, share in profit or loss. So, saan ka lang? Doon ka lang sa taas, sa net income or net loss. Okay? Next. Sir, yung stock dividends, hindi ba natin papansinin? Huwag mong pansinin ang stock dividends. Bakit? Ganito yan, class. Halimbawa, meron kang 20,000 over 100,000, tapos nagkaroon ng tinatawag na stock dividends na 10%. Okay. So, this is 20 times 1.1. So, this is 22. Okay. So, this is 100 times 1.1. So, this is 110. Okay. Dito, class, ang percentage of ownership mo, 20%. Dito kaya, 22 over 110. Eh, di ba? 20% din. Ibig sabihin, that stock dividends, hindi ho magpapabago sa percentage of ownership. Kaya, ignore mo lang. So, ang sagot natin dito sa 5-year 20x2, there will be a share in net loss amounting to how much? This is 2 million pesos net loss times what? Times the 20% percentage of ownership, that is 400,000 share in net loss. Okay, yan po yung sagot natin sa X1 and X2, requirement A. Let's now go to requirement B of item 5. Compute for the carrying amount of the investment on December 31, 20x1 and 20x2. Okay. So dito, class, 20x1 muna tayo. Investment in associate, 20x1. Okay. So initially measured at cost. Magkano ba siya nakuha? Nakuha mo yan at 1 million pesos. So beginning mo, 1 million pesos. And this will be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee. For 20x1, ano ang nangyari? Yun, class, so reported income amounting to 3 million. Di meron kang share in net income. Tumaas ang equity niya, tataas din ang investment in associate mo in consideration of the existing percentage of ownership of 20%. So this will be 600,000 increase, and a dividend was declared, no? 200,000, meron kang tinatawag na share in dividends. So 200,000, 20x1, no? Times 20%, so this is 40,000. So what is now the ending balance of your investment in associate 20x1? That is 1,600,000 minus 40,000. So this is 1,560,000. Okay? Ito po yung sagot natin sa letter A o sa question 1 ng letter B, which is the carrying amount of the investment in associate in 20x1. Okay? Let's now go to the next requirement, investment in associate, 20x2. So your beginning balance here is 1,560,000 pesos. Okay? Ano nangyari sa 20x2? Nagkaroon siya ng net loss. So ang share in net loss mo ay 400,000 pesos. Okay? Ano nangyari? Bumaba ang equity niya, bababa din ang investment in associate mo, taking into account the percentage of ownership. Ano pa? Kasi ito, i-adjust mo based on the changes in the equity of the investee. The result of the operations affects the equity of the investee, and the other comprehensive income also affects the equity of the investee. Meaning, items affecting OCI which affects the equity of the investee will be considered in the computation of the investment in associate subsequent carrying value. Okay? Dito klaseng share in profit or loss, wag mong isama dyan yung items under comprehensive income, other comprehensive income, kasi hindi naman yan ang tinatanong. Ang tinatanong, share in profit or loss lang. Pero dito class, this cost will be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee. All items that affects the equity of the investee will also affect your investment in associate, including your other comprehensive income items. Other comprehensive income items affect the equity of the investee, therefore, that will affect your investment in associate, taking into account the percentage of ownership. Okay? So, hindi pa ito natatapos yan kasi meron ka dyang gain on property revaluation. Okay? Amounting to 500,000. 500,000 times 0.2, that is 100,000. This is now your share in the gain on revaluation. Okay? And meron kang share in translation loss, which is 100,000 times 20%. So, this is 20. This is share in translation loss. And this will now be the answer, ending balance, no, of investment in associate 20x2. Let's compute 1,560,000. 1,560 plus 100 minus 420 minus 420. This is 1,240,000. This is the answer in 5.B, requirement for 20x2. Okay?